convoy of the Indian Army is en route from Chandel district in Manipur to Dimapur in Nagaland. Only a few kilometers into their journey, they are ambushed. By the time the surviving soldiers retaliate, the attackers have melted into the forest. "18 Indian soldiers are martyred. It is one of the worst militant attacks in northeast India in more than a decade. The Indian Army would respond with lethal force. Domino's presents Special Operations India, Myanmar, powered by Raymond and Indian Oil. Following the militant attack in Manipur's Chandel district, the security establishment acts swiftly.
Immediately after the incident took place of the attack on the Indian Army, we got into a position of high alert.
Escape routes are sealed. Road checks intensify. Counter ambushes are set up to flush out the insurgents responsible for the attack. Meanwhile, India's Home Minister calls a meeting.
Rajnath Singh is supposed to have said that iska badla zarur lena chahiye aur turant lena chahiye.
The other part of it was anger. Anger towards these militants who dared to attack an army which is considered one of the best in the world.
Intelligence suggests the attackers came from across the Indo-Myanmar border. India's northeast shares a 1,600-kilometer-long border with Myanmar, formerly known as Burma.
The reaction was this, that with impunity the people cannot be coming and crossing the border and operate on the Indian territory with the weapons that they have brought from outside.
Many insurgent groups operate in the northeast, waging a guerrilla war against the Union of India.
These are all old insurgencies, well entrenched in the northeast.
Several militant groups have camps along the Indo-Myanmar border. The need of the hour, a counter-insurgency operation. The Indian Army calls in the best men for the job.
I thought it would be better to use the special forces.
a unit of the Indian Army's Parachute Regiment Special Forces, or Para-SF. An elite fighting force. Their insignia, the Wagnak, Chhatrapati Shivaji's weapon of choice, and a symbol of the proud Maratha warrior tradition.
Wag is tiger and Nak is the tiger claw.
These soldiers are jungle warfare specialists. They operate in the most hostile and impenetrable tropical jungles. Every mission in this terrain is first a battle against nature. Their training is amongst the best in the world. Para-SF are masters of stealth and unconventional warfare. They fight the guerrilla like the guerrilla. Para-SF activate their intelligence assets. To zero in on which group had carried out the ambush and where they were hiding.
By 5th morning, we had got a confirmation which group actually had done it, and they had claimed it also.
While the attack was executed by a crew that belonged to various insurgent groups, the ambush was planned and coordinated by a militant organization called the National Socialist Council of Nagaland, Kaplang, or the NSCN-K.
So that is the mother organization for all this rest of the insurgents of Northeast. They are the ones who keep shelter, provide them camps, then you take money, provide them weapons.
The NSCN-K are ruthless and dangerously well organized.
They are more or less like a army kind of a thing. They wear their uniform with pride. Their ambushes are deadly. They are well trained in IEDs.
Their secret weapon, improvised explosive devices, or IEDs. Deadly crude bombs made out of household items. IEDs are easy to camouflage and conceal. These bombs are virtually impossible to detect.
It's just for luck. You see it first, that is fine, but then it's like that searching for a needle in a haystack. It is difficult. The modus operandi. Stay there, come inside for ops, hit back, get out.
This guerrilla army trains hard in jungle survival and hit-and-run tactics.
So it's a cat and mouse game, they keep changing it.
The civilian population funds the NSCN-K, but not willingly.
They have a very well-oiled machinery where extortion is a big business, ransom, kidnapping, drug running.
Threat, coercion, and violence are the means of extortion.
So they have got to be neutralized, and there should be a very strong Indian deterrence against them.
By the end of the day, the Special Forces have confirmed intel on the militant hideout. The camp is 10 kilometers across the Manipur-Myanmar border. Spread over 1.5 square kilometers, the camp is a major hub of NSCN-K activity. 250 armed militants are estimated to be there.
The target was fairly large, well fortified, well strengthened.
So it was decided that you needed to hit them where it hurts them, because these are larger camps and they are at the heart of their operations and their existence.
But additional intelligence complicates matters.
The intelligence people told us and gave us the information that they were redeploying themselves, mobilizing themselves, and probably there could be another attack.
Information suggests that the militants may be preparing to carry out more attacks.
So we thought that we must take a preemptive action, and before they attack, we neutralize them.
The Indian Army's top brass meet in Imphal. The situation is now a ticking time bomb. Allowing the insurgents to attack again is not an option. India must strike hard and strike fast.
It was a high-risk mission. It required a lot of planning.
The target is set. The plan is in place. Induction. Cover 50 kilometers in hostile territory on foot in 24 hours. Terrain. Dense jungle. Target, NSC&K militant camp. Spread over 1.5 square kilometers. 250 militants estimated, armed and dangerous. Objective, destroy militant camp. D-Day, 9th June 2015. Starting now, it's a 90-hour countdown to the strike.
After detailed discussion, we decided to launch the operation on night of 8-9 June 2015.
The chief just asked, will you be able to do it?
The team leader has only one problem. Striking such a spread-out target would require a sizable force, and he is short-staffed.
From his team, a number of people were heading to a UN mission and they were in Delhi.
Without these men, it would be impossible to neutralize the target. The Chief of Army Staff makes the call. The Special Forces operatives in Delhi get orders to report to Manipur. The reinforcements arrive. The strike team is now in place. This is a top-secret special operation. The men must now be isolated. There can be no contact with the outside world until the mission is over. They have been quarantined. Operation Hot Pursuit is on. A convoy of the Indian Army is ambushed by armed insurgents in Manipur. 18 Indian soldiers are martyred. India decides to take punitive action. The Special Forces strike team is now on a 90-hour deadline. Their mission, to seek and destroy the NSC&K camp. The men get down to business. Each operative knows that when the nation comes calling, they will have to be the best they've ever been. This is going to be one of the toughest missions of their lives. Time to get the show on the road.
General Rawat made a beautiful deception plan.
The Special Forces operatives travel on a military convoy. disguised as infantrymen of the Bihar regiment. The strike force travels east, from Imphal to the last Indian Army post near the international border with Myanmar. It's a 9-hour journey and risky.
There are insurgents operating along the Manipur-Myanmar border. They move around fairly freely in that area. And we had to make sure that by the time we reach this camp, we had to remain undetected, because then the operation would have been a no-go.
The trucks only get them so far. The operatives have reached the edge of the Naga Hills, close to the Manipur-Myanmar border. Now it's a 50-kilometer race against time to the target. Operation Hot Pursuit is underway.
hours to cover that 50 kilometers. We had absolutely no options.
Each operative is carrying 35 kilograms of battle load, a deadly arsenal of weapons and ammunition. Secrecy is vital, but there is a price. The route they have chosen is a tropical nightmare.
We took a very difficult and a very long route. It was entirely moving through very thick jungle.
Even sunlight does not penetrate the densest parts of these jungles. The terrain is unforgiving. Danger lurks in every corner. The humidity tipping 99%. It's soldier versus wild. As the day progresses, the temperature rises. Each step saps more energy. Finally, the operatives get some respite. They have reached the last Indian village. Beyond this lies the Indo-Myanmar border.
There is a protocol which allows free movement of people from either side up to 16 kilometers into each other's territory. So therefore the insurgents also take advantage.
The area is full of informants. The strike team will have to approach with extreme caution. It's a waiting game. They leave the last village behind. But as they get closer to the international border, the strike team runs the risk of their radio communication being intercepted by the insurgents. From here on, they will have to maintain complete radio silence. But the general and the team leader have a covert communication plan.
So he had a radio set with him and I had a radio set. Every 2 to 3 hours, he would give me a kind of a buzzer tone on the radio set to say all was well. And so long as the buzzer tone kept coming to me, I knew he was progressing well.
The strike team are at the international border. Here, a river divides the two nations.
Whole day we had walked around 50 kilometers and we were dead tired.
They are now 10 kilometers from the target. But they are running behind time. The clock is ticking. Any delays would mean aborting the mission. In the dark jungle, it is impossible to navigate.
Your visibility inside the jungle is not even 5 meters. You can't take out your night sights and keep looking. You don't see anything.
The only thing they can rely on now is their trusted compass, and they're really going to need it. This is uncharted territory. The going is slow, the path uncertain. They are short of time. The mission is under threat. They are now in the insurgents' backyard. The militants have the advantage. These jungles are booby-trapped with IEDs. And the insurgents have eyes everywhere.
They have sentries who are well ahead of their camps to detect for any movement that may be taking place.
There's movement in the jungle. Someone is approaching. The team goes on high alert. Will this blow the mission? Indian Special Forces are on a 90-hour deadline to destroy one of the largest camps of the insurgent group, the NSCNK. The camp lies across the Indo-Myanmar border. They run the risk of being detected by the militants. Could these men be informants? A quick interrogation reveals these men are local hunters. Hunting is a traditional way of life here, But the special forces can take no chances. They cannot let these men go, but they could be useful.
So they knew the route. So we said, good, now we'll use your expertise.
The strike team have found their human compass. Can they be trusted?
At around morning when we were about to reach the hilltop, this guy stopped. This guy said, "Ki from here we'll not go ahead."
The hunters are reluctant to go any further. Locals are forbidden from entering the jungle near the militant camps. The team leader is now sure that the target is close. The strike team is now on their own. The team leader, along with his recon specialists, spread out. Their job, to find sentry posts and scope the perimeter. The camp is cleverly concealed. It blends in with the dense jungle, making it hard to observe. Finally, the recon teams have visual on the sentry posts. Over the next 12 hours, they gather all the intel they can.
So we had to be extremely cautious that we don't get detected and that we detect the insurgent camp, any sentry, before they detect us. Because if he takes the first shot, then the surprise is lost.
Then, but we could understand that this is the feature. This is the target area.
The team leader plans a three-pronged assault. Strike Team 1 and 2 would leave at midnight. They would attack the camp from the north and south.
They wanted a head start of 2 hours to lay the ambushes and cut off the camp.
Strike Team 3 would hit the camp through the main entrance in the west in a daring frontal attack.
The final assault with me was planned around with 15 guys with all the heavy weapons from the frontal side.
These men have never been more ready. Their weapons are primed, their senses sharp. This is their moment. It's time to make good their pledge to the nation and to avenge their brothers in arms who lost their lives to militancy. The operatives go deathly silent. The gunshots seem to have come from the top of the cliff. Have they been spotted? Indian paratrooper special forces are within striking distance of the NSCNK militant camp in Myanmar. They're waiting for midnight to begin the assault. But suddenly, gunshots ring out.
Then the dilemma started. have we been identified or our presence has been known? Then after some time, around 10, we started hearing certain more noise from the other side. And they were putting the torch on and then they were searching.
The militants seem to be on high alert. Bursts of gunfire are heard from various directions.
But the only fear was, are we getting cornered? That is surrounded.
Any false move now could result in a pitched battle in the enemy's stronghold. The situation is dire. The special forces can afford no casualties.
Suddenly, now our plan has gone for a 6. We were supposed to go at 12.
The assault plan falls apart. Gunshots continue till 3 in the morning. The firing stops, but the assault window is closing. They have only 1 hour to go. It's now or never. The battlefield is full of surprises, but these men are trained to expect the unexpected. Time to improvise.
All 35 of us goes total frontal.
The strike team leader takes 15 men and heads in the direction of the last gunshot. They will track the militants back to the camp. The climb is steep and slippery.
You have to actually climb on all 4s. By around 3:45, we were able to occupy that height. Then we could see their footprints. Then we decided we follow the footprints. We just walked, turned, and then we saw the Santri post there. The first sentry post was empty. There was a big vehicular road which was going inside the jungle. And we found a huge gate there. Huge fence was there.
The team has visual confirmation of the target.
We called up the rest of the troops to fetch up.
The operatives enter the insurgents' lair. The men spread out and take up assault positions.
At around 5 o'clock in the morning, I didn't receive that buzzer. Now that got me worried.
The battle is about to begin. Some of these men may not survive. But dead or alive, India's special forces never leave a man behind. India's para-SF are seconds away from launching the assault on their target, an NSCNK militant camp. Their aim, to avenge the death of 18 Indian soldiers killed in an ambush and to foil the next insurgent attack. Sentries silenced. Time to get the job done. They have the element of surprise, and they make it count.
They were just 100 meters away from us. That was the best position to fire on that camp. We emptied all our heavy ammunitions from there.
The camp is much larger than estimated, and the militants spread out. But the special forces managed to destroy everything in sight. After 30 minutes of blazing guns, the op is done. Time to fall back. The risk of being hit by reinforcements is rising by the minute. They need to get out of here, and fast. Some surviving militants try to cut off their escape route.
We saw that around 7-8 guys of their militants trying to come towards our side. So we started having a firefight with them.
But they are no match for the special forces. The hot pursuit has ended.
It's when he opened up on the radio and he spoke to me. He said, "Sir, we've done what we had gone for, and all my boys are safe."
what was task was given to me was achieved. That was all.
As the Special Forces make their way back home, news of their success spreads across India.
Early morning, the first thing I did was got the information across to PM. See, it's a proud moment.
I felt that the Indian Army has done a great job for 3 reasons. Firstly, all our soldiers came completely safe. Nobody was injured. Secondly, and more importantly, there was no collateral damage. And thirdly, that it did have the deterrent effect on them.
It is to the credit of my able commanders and brave soldiers that they executed the operation flawlessly.
Well, my message to the insurgent or a terrorist would be, best option for you is to give up arms, come and have talks with us, and I think we can all live in peace together in this country.
Mission after mission, India's Special Forces put themselves in the line of fire to strike out threats to the unity and integrity of the nation. They are India's faceless warrior elite.